Welcome back to Rich Cousins, where we talk about money, mindset, and the real game behind success. Now, today's conversation, this one might actually change how you see people and yourself.
Yeah, because today we're talking about something most people overlook: compassion. But not the soft, fluffy version people post online. We're talking about the kind that actually changes your life.
Right, not just a feel good hashtag. We're talking about a fundamental mindset that separates the good from the truly great. Let me be honest, when I hear compassion, I don't think power. I think weakness. I think of letting people off the hook, making excuses for poor performance. In the business world, that's a recipe for failure.
And that right there is the fundamental misunderstanding that holds so many people back. They see compassion as a weakness, an emotional liability. But in reality, it's one of the highest forms of power. It's a strategic advantage in business, leadership, and life. Let me prove it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to prove that one because that goes against everything we're taught.
Let me flip your perspective real quick. Compassion is not something you do for other people. It's something you do for yourself.
Break that down. That sounds selfish.
Think about it. When you operate from compassion, you don't react the same way. You don't carry the same stress. You don't hold on to anger the same way. It literally changes how you function.
So you're saying it's like an internal upgrade.
Exactly. And here's the crazy part: science actually backs this. When you feel genuine love or compassion, your heart rhythm changes. Your body shifts into a healthier state. So this isn't just mindset, this is biology.
Biology. Right. Okay, but let's be real. Nobody wakes up feeling compassionate. We wake up comparing, complaining, judging.
Facts, because that's what we've trained ourselves to do. Think about it: social media equals comparison, work culture equals pressure, society equals competition. So naturally, compassion feels unnatural.
So, how do you fix that?
You train it. Compassion is a muscle. The more you practice it, the more it becomes who you are.
A muscle. Okay.
Let me give you a real life example. Imagine this: you go to a restaurant, you wait forever to be seated. Your coffee comes cold, your food is late.
I'm already irritated just hearing this.
Exactly. Most people react instantly. This service is trash. They're incompetent. But someone operating from compassion pauses and thinks, maybe this person has been working 12 hours straight. Maybe they've been struggling financially. Maybe they just got back to work after months of no income.
Same situation, completely different reaction.
Exactly. And that shift, it protects your peace. You're not letting someone else's bad day ruin yours.
I've actually noticed something similar. When someone comes at you aggressively, you shut down. But when someone understands you, you want to do better.
That's the power right there. Compassion opens people up. Pressure shuts people down.
That applies everywhere: work, relationships, even parenting.
100%. There was even a study: millions of employees. The biggest factor for performance wasn't money. It was feeling like someone actually cared about them.
So, compassion isn't just emotional, it's productive.
Exactly. It drives results.
So, where did we mess up as a society?
We were taught the wrong things. Kindness equals weakness, dominance equals strength. But now, the real flex isn't money anymore.
Facts. Now, nobody cares about Lambos like before.
Exactly. Now, what goes viral? People helping strangers, acts of kindness, real human connection. Compassion is the new status symbol.
Let's talk about this though. Some people fake compassion.
Oh, yeah, big difference. There's compassion as a strategy and compassion as a state of being.
Explain.
Compassion is, I'm being nice so I can get something. A state of being is, this is just who I am.
And people can feel the difference.
Immediately. Fake compassion feels transactional. Real compassion feels genuine.
I've seen this firsthand. A guy I used to work with, super smart, but he treated every interaction like a negotiation he had to win. He called it strategic kindness, but everyone saw right through it. He'd be your best friend when he needed something, and the moment he got it, you didn't exist. Needless to say, his network was a mile wide and an inch deep. No one trusted him.
That's a perfect example. And it highlights that real compassion is built on a foundation of security, not a need for validation. The person who's genuinely compassionate isn't trying to get likes or social credit. Their actions are consistent, whether anyone is watching or not. It's about their internal state, their character. Fake compassion is a performance. Real compassion is a reflection of who you are.
So let me ask you this. Does being compassionate mean you let people walk all over you?
Not at all. That's where people get it wrong. Compassion doesn't mean weakness, it means control. In fact, it's the opposite. True compassion requires immense strength. It means having the courage to set boundaries. People think a compassionate person is a yes man. No. A truly compassionate person can say no, not out of selfishness, but out of an understanding of their own limits and a respect for the other person. Being honest and setting clear expectations is an act of compassion. Letting someone fail repeatedly without intervention is not.
Control?
Yeah, you're not reacting emotionally. You're choosing how to respond. That's power.
So it's not about being soft.
It's about being grounded.
Okay, I'm sold on the why, but what about the how? For the person listening who thinks this sounds great, but I'm not a naturally compassionate person, what are the actual practical steps to start building this muscle?
Great question. It's not about flipping a switch. It's about starting a practice. The first and most powerful is a mindfulness exercise called loving kindness meditation. It's simple. Take 5 minutes each morning, close your eyes, and first think of someone you love and send them positive energy. Just wish them well. Feel that warmth. Then do the same for a neutral person, like the barista who made your coffee.
And then comes the hard part. Do the same for someone you have a difficult relationship with. This isn't about excusing their behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the anger associated with them. Finally, you turn that compassion inward on yourself. You have to practice that self-compassion we talked about.
That resistance is where the growth happens. It's like a mental workout. But if meditation feels too abstract, there's a more concrete practice. Perspective-taking journaling.
So if someone listening commits to this, they do the meditation, they write in the journal, what's the long-term payoff? How does this really change their life, their business, a year or 5 years down the line?
The payoff is massive, and it compounds over time. In business, you stop playing the short game. Your team's loyalty skyrockets because they know you see them as human beings, not just cogs in a machine. This isn't about being soft, it's about being smart. When people feel psychologically safe, they innovate. They take risks that lead to breakthroughs because they're not afraid of being punished for failure. You attract and retain A-plus talent because the best people want to work in an environment of respect, not fear. And in negotiations, you gain an edge because you can understand the other side's underlying needs, not just their stated position. You find win-win solutions they didn't even see. On a personal level, it's even more profound. Your relationships deepen because they're built on authenticity, not performance. You can be real with people. And your resilience, it becomes unbreakable. When you have self-compassion, a failure is an event, not an identity. You learn, you adapt, and you get back up stronger.
That makes perfect sense. I want to circle back to that idea of self-compassion, especially for the high achievers listening. A lot of us have that inner critic, that voice that says, you're not doing enough, you need to be better. We think that's our edge. So how do we practice self-compassion without losing that drive, that hunger to succeed?
That's the million-dollar question. And the key is understanding the difference between healthy self-critique and destructive self-criticism. Healthy critique is your ally. It says, that presentation didn't land. What can we learn? How can we improve the slides, the delivery, the data for next time? It's objective, it's forward-looking, and it's focused on behavior. Destructive self-criticism is your enemy. It says, you failed, you're a fraud, you're not cut out for this. It's personal, it's rooted in shame, and it paralyzes you. Self-compassion isn't about letting yourself off the hook. It's about giving yourself the support you need to get back in the game. It's treating yourself like you would a mentee you believe in, with encouragement, honest feedback, and the unwavering belief that they can and will do better. That's not losing your edge, that's sharpening it for the long run.
Man, that's a powerful distinction. It really reframes the whole conversation. I think for me and for a lot of people listening, We started this conversation thinking of compassion as a soft skill, a nice to have, maybe even a liability in a cutthroat world. But we've unpacked how it's actually a strategic advantage. It's not about being a pushover, it's about having the emotional control to see the bigger picture. We've learned that it's something you do for yourself first, that it has real biological benefits, and that it's a muscle you can train through practice. And distinguishing between that healthy, forward-looking self-critique and the destructive, paralyzing self-criticism is a game changer. It's not about losing your edge, it's about making it sustainable.
Exactly. And that's where we'll leave it for today. If you take one thing away from this conversation, let it be this. Compassion is not a passive feeling. It is an active choice. It is a decision you make in the small moments. So my challenge to everyone listening is simple. Don't just think about this. Do it just once today. The next time you feel that flash of frustration at the slow driver, the barista who messes up your order, the coworker who misses a deadline, or even yourself for a mistake, pause just for a second. And instead of reacting, choose to respond. Ask yourself that one question. What might they be going through? Or for yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? That one moment, that one choice is where the transformation begins. It's how you build the muscle. It's how you take back your power. Don't wait. Start with that one small act. See how it feels. That's how you start building a richer life and the richer you.
That's the perfect place to end. A powerful mindset shift and a clear call to action. That's it for this episode of Rich Cousins. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, we're not just building wealth, we're building who we become. Until next time.